Forever. Dog.
Welcome to the Rearview. I'm back this week, and we're discussing Chadwick Boseman, the VMAs, Jamaica's own Adele, and Katy Perry's Smile. But first, let's go over listener opinions on the Queer Legacy question from last week. Of her entire catalog, which Janet Jackson album gives us peak Janet?
At Fiona Adams Apple, great name. Great name. Said, The Velvet Rope was one of the first albums to explicitly reference homophobia and actually use the word gay. She also focused on depression, domestic abuse, and sexual empowerment, and reinvented R&B. Queen shit, and it's sonically excellent as well. I see no lies here.
I said The Velvet Rope, Fiona Adams Apple, you are an extraordinary machine. Thank you for saying this.
Is that your alternate account?
No.
Jay?
In fact, that is an amazing account name, but
That's a
I
good
don't.
Great
name.
username.
I mean, top tier.
Follow Alejandro said, I'm showing my age, but discipline.
Okay.
Okay.
Respect.
Okay, and this says at New Den FL. Nude in Florida. That's what that means.
Respect.
At Nude in Florida said statistically control. So we're going off numbers. We're going off like record sales. Okay, if you want to look at numbers and stuff, since facts matter apparently, control. But yeah, I'm happy that everyone commented because this like made me listen to Janet pretty much for a whole week. So I've been into it.
The past two of these questions that have been about pop stars have been really popular on Twitter. So that's fun. The
Yeah,
girls want to engage with the pop
The
girls.
girls like to fight.
They like to
That
fight.
part.
The girls like to fight. Let's give them something to fight about.
Let him something to fight about.
Nope.
I was like, that's not Janet Jackson.
No, it's Bonnie Raitt.
All right. And this week, I'm so excited to introduce this week's guest. You may know him from Say I Do on Netflix. Please welcome renowned chef Gabriele Bertaccini. No, I messed that up. Okay.
No, Monique, that's perfect.
Are you sure?
Monique,
Yeah,
you did it.
It's perfect. Say that again.
Oh, now see, they got it in post once. They can just play it again.
Monique, isn't this your fantasy? He said, say my name again.
Actually, what was the fantasy was when I was scrolling through his Instagram. Did y'all check out that he had his foot arched lovely in one of those toes?
That was the final
toes,
fantasy.
Girl, the
Yes.
toes they were manicured and they were arched just right to let people know you can suck on these.
You
This
came
has
straight out of the
been-
little pool with the leeches that
The
sucked into the dead
past
skin.
3 weeks,
Oh
this
my
has become
God.
a foot fetish friendly podcast. So
I'm just saying, anytime you see a cute man with his toes out and they're arched, girl, you can suck on them.
Send them your way, Monique.
No, I didn't say I would suck on them. I said you can suck on them.
Oh my
Just mean-
God, I even forgot.
That's
I
the
even
that's the
forgot
photo,
about
girl.
that.
Look at the
I even
arch. Look
forgot
at the
about
arch.
that.
Look at the
Oh my
arch,
God, look at
girl.
That's
You can't
I'm
fake
gonna-
that.
I'm gonna start OnlyFans, guys.
You should.
Only feet.
Me and Chester got one started just for toes.
Hello.
This is the time to do it.
people eat
I,
trotters. People eat trotters, right? That's a delicacy.
That is, yeah, they do. They do.
Now, Gabriele, what we like to talk about first, since we're living in unprecedented times, is we want to know what you've been up to in quarantine. Talk us through like your time. You're in Venice right now.
Yeah.
Have you been
Venice?
in Venice?
No,
for
Venice,
most of the time?
Italy. Venice, Venice, California.
Right.
I have been in Venice most of my time. Yes. I also have another house in Phoenix, Arizona, but it's 175 degrees right now. So
Crazy.
there is no reason for me to go back there unless it's, of course, for my amazing clients. But I think if there is something that we're all sharing right now as a community, is that we have to deal with uncertainty, right? Like nothing is ever the same, right?
Right.
Dating is not the same, eating with friends is not the same, socializing with friends and family is not the same, work, clearly it's not the same. So we have to be okay with just living the moment. And going back to your question, I mean, how I do that, it's really spending time with my dogs, as you probably, Monique, you have been going through my Instagram clearly.
I
so
did.
I spend most of my time, with my three amazing dogs. But and being nature, like that's what grounds me. So in Venice, there is really a connection with nature. I mean, as I'm sitting here talking to you guys, I'm looking at the Pacific. So there is something so beautiful, and if there is one thing I always do is clearly surfing. So I jump in the water and I do that every day, or I go hike, or I just take my dogs and I go on little camping trips. So I love that. I think spending time with ourselves and a little bit more not isolated, but a little bit more with who we are as individuals, I think it can only benefit. So that's a little silver lining on there.
Yeah, for sure. You
Right?
said you have 3 dogs.
I do have 3 dogs.
Are you looking for a
Yes.
4th?
I mean,
Are you already in the collar,
I
Tim?
could.
Oh
I
my
could.
god.
I have a cute little puppy tail. I can probably put on you.
Gabriele,
Yeah.
are you single or you're dating
Y'all,
someone?
this is not Mid-Atlantic
never-
Leather Fest,
we're
y'all.
never- Why not? I love leather.
Italian leather.
Italian leather.
I need a moment off camera.
The only kind.
Bottega Veneta.
So no, I never talk about my relationship status. So I'm Italian, which means this is the
That
fourth.
is-
This is the
That is
fourth.
the best answer right
No.
there.
It
Just leave it right there. Just leave it right
Okay, I
there.
got you.
No
I know
explanation
exactly
needed.
what you mean.
We are-
That is the new one.
We
Are
may-
you single? Can you put that on
I'm
the grinder,
Italian.
please? Single,
We-
dating, relationship, Italian.
We are in love with beauty. We like to share. We like to. We like our freedom. We are passionate. So it's difficult to be tied to anything specific.
Yes, for
And
sure.
so we just like to experience.
That's why he
life
had them
fully.
toes
See,
out there,
now,
y'all.
I'm Irish, but it seems
What
like
was
the
that?
Irish people have a similar thing going on. 'cause-
No, they
Oh.
don't, do they?
Oh, girl, he
My-
shut that down real
Oh
quick. He
my
said, no,
God.
they don't.
Well, Patrick, maybe we should go for a little dinner at Pache, next week.
Let's go to Pache this week.
Oh
That's-
my
we'll talk about
god.
Dang, you like potatoes in your spaghetti? Dang. Anything
Oh.
else? Okay,
Okay.
dang. You know what, Gabrielle, on a serious note here.
All
Okay.
right, tell me.
In addition to, just the oozing sensuality, the enormous brain, the huge heart, you're one of 3 LGBTQ experts who designed surprise dream weddings on Netflix's Say I Do. What
Mhm.
drew you to the show? And just say anything, because when you talk, it is like heaven opening up.
By the way, guys, if you don't understand me, that's fine. Just ask me again, because 80% of the time I don't understand myself. So do not be ashamed. Honestly, I'm like, what did I just say? But listen, if you watch the show, did you guys actually watch the show? It's okay if you didn't, but did you watch the show?
I
watched
just
this
started it.
And the trailer.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool. So, well, if there is something beautiful about Say I Do, it's really that it's a show not so much about me or about Jeremiah or about Ty, who are the other 2 friends that I'm doing this with. It's really about the love stories. And as much as we like to think that we're worldly, we travel. I mean, I was very fortunate to travel since I was a kid, and we are exposed to different lifestyles and stories. We all live in a bubble, especially here in LA, like we do, right? And so here we are transported in a place. We filmed the show in Ohio and Indianapolis, and and being exposed to these love stories that, in all honesty, like I would have never ever experienced if it wasn't for this show. It really made me, and I'm thinking as I talk, but it really made me believe fully in the power of love. And I mean, we need it now, right? More than ever. It's like EU unites us. And I think that's the message that really comes through when you watch the show. It's not about the drama. There is no drama there. It's really a show about unity. It's a show about love. It's a show about acceptance. It's a show about sharing our stories, as hard as it can be. And we all do that. I do that personally. There is, of course, the couples that we are helping that, they are overcoming grief and fears and failures and so forth. And the common thread in all of that is the power of love. That if we stay grounded in what we believe love is, and really accept it, and not only that, share it, with ourselves, because many times we are not loving enough to ourselves, right? But also share with the people around us, that we can really create a beautiful community. And now we are divided as ever. And I think the message really has to be, let's love each other a little more. Let's open up and be vulnerable. Let's share our stories. And then all of a sudden, the differences will disappear, and you will see what actually unites us. And that is exactly what drew me to the show. I had the opportunity before to do TV. It was always very self-serving. It never felt right. And when this show came in, I was like, okay, hold on. Are we doing these weddings just because we want these, amazing, beautiful weddings? And who are we doing this for? And once you start learning about these couples and the struggles they went through, you're like, you know what? I can put my craft at good use. And that was the time, to do that.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. You
True.
talked.
I mean,
you talked a little bit about sharing people's stories, and you did something that was incredibly brave, but also super important in 2020, as you disclosed your HIV status in a very public space. And how did you feel about doing that? And what do you think it does for representation and fighting the stigma?
It was not planned whatsoever. I was sitting in the kitchen. I just finished cooking, or I was cooking, if I remember, across the groom of, in the first episode. His name is Marcus. And all of a sudden, as I'm cooking, he reveals to me that, a very challenging time in his life was discovering that he was type 1 diabetes, and how he had to adapt to this new reality, and how actually it was very depressing for him, because it really affects your life fully. And at that moment, I'm sitting across this beautiful, if you saw Marcus, I had a crush on him like the first 10 minutes. I was like, he hugged me, and I felt like, oh my God, he's like 6'4", big, muscly, beautiful smile, and I'm sitting there, I'm thinking in my head, what do I have in common with this guy, right? There is absolutely nothing. Like, I'm sitting there and thinking, okay, I'm making scallops. He has no idea what scallops are. He wants soul food, and I have no idea what soul food is. And I'm thinking, what do we have here? And then all of a sudden, he opened up about this, and I was like, you know what? It just came very natural. And my response was, Marcus, we actually have a lot in common, because I went through the same feelings that you have been going through, the same idea of failure, the same feeling of not being adequate enough, or scared of for my health and my life, when I was diagnosed HIV positive. And at that moment, like just as I said before, we share our stories. He showed me his vulnerability. The only appropriate response when somebody does that is to be vulnerable back. I know it's not comfortable. Many times it might not be, but that's the only response that we can have. And at the moment, we really connected on a deep level. He looked at me and said, well, you are the only person I know who has HIV positive, which that's exactly why I came out HIV positive, because the stigma is still connected to the 1980s and 1990s, unfortunately, of the awful pandemic that killed our community in such great numbers. And we still have an idea of what HIV positive person looks like. And we live in 2020 where HIV does not discriminate. HIV now is actually affecting straight community, heterosexual community in greater numbers than LGBTQ communities. Unfortunately, it's affecting minorities and people of color communities more than actually LGBTQ. And it's affecting me, as it's affecting the person who lives, in the middle of America in a small farm community, or my lawyer, or my plumber, or it does not discriminate. And so it's important that we need to, that we come out, that HIV positive people come out and they talk about it. And in all honesty, they don't make a big deal out of it, because then it becomes this big monster that we just don't know how to deal with. And once you actually put a face to this awful disease, which of course I would rather not having, but luckily enough for all the medical advancement that we had been having for the last 20 years, I can easily manage. And it became a chronic condition more than anything. It's important to just open up and be like, you know what, the stigma is connected to a vision of what HIV looks like, that it's not current. It's not this anymore. And it's also connected to, being ashamed of who we are and our sexuality and what has happened to us. And I think it's essential that we came out. I say that this was my second coming out. And we also give hope. We give hope. You know, I'm lucky to live in LA. I'm lucky to, you know, have been having friends who were HIV positive at the time of my diagnosis, who helped me navigate the whole system. I'm lucky that I can afford a private health insurance every month that covers most of my medicine, you know, my medication. I'm lucky that I read, that I have access to the news, to friends who work in the field who tell me the advancements and you know, how to navigate this whole thing. But the majority of the people are not. You know, if you talk to Middle America, they still have no idea what PrEP is.
Yeah.
I mean, 85% of the people in America have no idea what PrEP is in our community, right? And or they don't have access to it, or they go to a doctor and they tell them, hey, I want to be on PrEP, and the doctors have no idea what they're talking about. And so this is what I'm saying, we need to talk about it. And somehow this whole thing just got digged up in the sand, and we just don't want to think about it anymore. But it's still around us, and the only way we can really deal with it is if we get to transmission zero, which amazing cities like San Francisco are just doing. San Francisco will be one of the first cities in the world getting to transmission zero by doing, you know, very extensive testing, putting people who are HIV positive on PrEP, and on medication, and people who are HIV negative on PrEP. And that's exactly how you deal with ugly disease like HIV.
And it's so beautiful that you're able to also talk about the Venn diagram of how HIV affects us socially, politically, sexually, but also just culturally. I think that's so important. And you spoke about it so elegantly. You made a joke about how we wouldn't be able to understand you, but that was beautifully put.
Very true.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
Very
Oh,
true.
thank you, guys.
Clear.
Well,
I mean,
let's-
you know, listen, you know, if there is one thing that the LGBTQ plus community know, it's shame, right? We have been shamed for centuries, and we keep being shamed, you know, in places around the world and even in our own communities. And the discrimination against HIV positive people happens within our community as well. You have no idea how many times I got turned down after, you know, 2 dates, right? Because I am opening up about this. And now it's actually, by the way, it's the first thing I say. And I don't even say it as a big announcement. I'm not, hey, I need to tell you something. You know, I'm at dinner eating a steak, and then it happens, you know, because of course you open up about who you are. It's like, oh, you know, what was the most difficult time of your life? I'm like, oh, when I got diagnosed with HIV, you know, and then it's like, all of a sudden it's like, wait, are you HIV positive? I'm like, yes. And some people just don't know what that means. They don't know what it means to be undetectable. They don't know what it means to actually transmit the disease. And so it's a moment for me also of the education. So we not only have to, you know, be open about who we are and our experiences and be vulnerable that way, but we also have to be willing to educate. And that's, you know, an important component of all of that.
Well, I'm so glad that you chose to share it on such a major platform. I mean, Netflix is global. I mean,
Yeah.
beyond being just in the United States where HIV stigma is still prevalent, there's still countries where Netflix is where, you know, gay rights are not as equal even too, which is a big component. And, you know, one thing is there's so many stories of HIV that are, you know, negative or sad. We have so much visibility in that area, but to see this beautiful, happy person helping people on their wedding day and get married, be HIV positive, and to show that is such a positive, beautiful thing to put into the world. So
I mean, yeah,
it's
thank you,
amazing.
Patrick. Thank
Yeah.
you. I mean, Jay, Patrick, you know, Chester, Monique, like we
Say my name
all
again.
had something.
Sorry.
Chester.
Sorry. Sorry. Oh,
Is it
God.
good? Am I saying it right?
Or, no, I didn't hear you. Could you say it one more time?
Chester.
No, Chester, if
Okay,
you want
hold
to
on,
be
hold on.
called
Let me-
Pup, just
let
say
me-
Pup.
let me-
Change your
let me
name
get
to
my-
Yeah,
Pup.
let me finish.
Let me get my top voice on. Chester. Is it good? Chester.
Now you
Chester.
you assumed the wrong thing, sweetie, but you can do whatever you want.
Hey, it's 2020. Everybody's versatile. Who is
Hello.
top bottom anymore?
Hello.
It's
Yeah.
a big liquid. Yeah, big.
Everyone's verse when you 6 feet apart. It's like, yeah, do whatever.
It's so
Yeah,
true.
I'm
No,
doing that
I-
thing you like.
I was saying before that, you know, in anything that happens in life, and we all had different experiences, of course, but I'm sure you can resonate in other areas. But in anything that happens in life, you can either decide to, you know, to have that specific moment or experience define you, or actually use it to define your future. And I decided to really not having that defining who I was or who I could have done, or, really my identity whatsoever, but decided to take it as a jumping, as a spring, right? To move forward. And be more in tune with not only my own health, but also with struggles that other people go through, or we understanding that, things that happen to you are part of your journey, and everybody has a baggage. And I think part of love and a relationship, of course, and a community in general, is that we are able not to be ashamed of this baggage and hide it, but we are able to open it up and ask others to actually help us carrying it. And if we all like kind of lending it, if we all lend a hand, the baggage becomes lighter. And so, in certain ways, me opening up about my HIV positive status or HIV undetectable was really sharing my baggage with all of you. And I have to thank you for, carrying it with me and having these conversations. These are the things that make me smile and make me happy, because those are the moments where I'm like, you know what, you actually embrace my baggage, my luggage, and you're like, we're going to carry it with you. Here you go. And that's beautiful. So thank you.
Well, it's nice luggage. It's Italian.
That's like, it's Italian luggage. I agree. I agree. It's Italian luggage. So thank you guys.
Well, let's discuss cooking for a little bit, because you are the chef, okay? And a lot of queers in the community cannot cook, which is very surprising.
Is it true?
Yes.
I can cook.
Hoes can.
I can cook.
Well, you ain't one of the hoes we was talking about.
Monique,
A
you
lot
can
of
cook.
Caucasian queers in the community. There we go.
No, that's
okay.
not necessarily true.
Oh my God.
It might not be seasoned, but it'll be cooked.
So wait, you're telling me that you go home at night or whatever, like and you don't like go grocery shopping and cook your dinner?
I do.
I do.
I mean, I cook.
Patrick clearly doesn't, because he's quiet. He's so quiet.
Patrick
Patrick
was
just
like,
has
you
whey
know,
protein.
Patrick-
just down the hill.
Yeah, Patrick goes to Patrick again to pick up stuff to go. Yeah,
I
Patrick-
literally
Patrick
was
eats 2 pills of what's that, Pure for Men, and
Yes.
a protein shake. That's it. She's
And a
I
hydroxycut.
I was re-seasoning my cast iron skillet last night with
Woo,
canola
that's
oil.
good. That is, oh, look at
Canola?
you.
Oh, she loves
Yeah,
that.
canola. Lawrence's
Yeah,
girlfriend
no,
from
I know.
Insecure.
You're so
Don't.
foolish.
Don't
Look,
show
so
off.
since we
You
have
know,
a lot
Jay-
of queers in the community that can't cook, what are some easy ways for people to start cooking?
Or get them
Go-
interested in cooking, or let's
All
talk
right.
about like people who don't cook and
Okay.
why it's important, especially during quarantine. I feel like
Yeah.
if people aren't cooking now, you'd never cook.
You
That's
wrote
right.
this
They'll
question
never
for
eat
yourself,
them.
Patrick.
Help me.
Tell Patrick the easiest Italian pasta dish that
How
he
do
can.
I
It's so
cook?
easy.
Oh my God, the easiest pasta dish? It's
Cacio e pepe?
spaghetti cacio e pepe. I was just going
Yep.
to say that. Jay, you're a cook. Look at you.
I'm
That's
I'm
great.
like a baby amateur home
But
cook.
Jay, cacio e pepe is very simple in terms of number of ingredients. It's like you probably have them in your pantry right now. But the technique is actually quite difficult. But you can master it, and of course, it takes great pleasure. You should take a great pleasure in doing that. But,
Everything
going-
sounds like a double entendre.
Yeah, well,
It is.
I was going to make a joke. I'm not going to. But anyhow, it's so. This is the thing. I was fortunate enough to be born in Italy, Florence. Where the food and wine is like the culture of the dinner table. It's so entangled in who we are as identity, right? So I cannot explain who I am without telling you, about my food journeys, or what food I eat or what food I cook, and vice versa. So it's inside me. So I can't, it's so connected. Now that doesn't happen in, for example, places like the US, right? And mostly it's because I think we have been here, in the new world, like we have been, we have been taught that, you go to the grocery store, you see the food, and there is a disconnect there. You just see the food and it just appears. I just posted something today on Instagram about that, how we walk into the grocery section and we have all these amazing produce, and it's available there every single day, 365 days a year. And we have no idea where it comes from. We have no idea what the plant looks like. We have no idea that, we go and pick up a steak, right? It comes packaged. We have no idea what, the parts of the cow, or like how a cow is raised, or what at what age actually, you can process it for meat. So what I'm saying here is, in order to learn how to cook, in order to get closer to the act of cooking, you have to fall in love with the process first. And the process comes from, or starts from, knowing where the food comes from. So all of you, if there is one thing I would do, is like, you know what, let's meet on a Wednesday and let's go to the Santa Monica Farmers Market. And we're gonna walk down and you're gonna see the produce. You're gonna meet the people that grow it. And let me tell you, those farmers are fucking hot, okay? So even if you just go boyfriend shopping, that's great. Like I go to the Santa Monica Farmers Market every Wednesday, and the first thing I do, I stop at this stand that sells lavender. And you would think of a stand that sells lavender to be ran by a beautiful blonde little woman, and it's like, oh my God, I love lavender, smells so good. And it's this freaking dude with these big hands, beard, blonde, like, just tan skin. And the hands are like 3 times my size. And every time I look at him, all I can think of is like, just come home with me. Just come home with me. And I buy this lavender in bunches, right? So what I'm saying is that just go to the farmer's market, like, just go to the farmer's market, like if you are going to the, flea market, or you go shopping, at the mall, whatever. Just go and walk and look at the ingredients and talk to the farmers and ask them how to cook them, because they know best. They'll tell you where the food comes from. They'll tell you, hey, we picked this morning, and now it's right here in front of you. And the best way to cook, this kombucha squash is to roast it and just put extra virgin olive oil, and that's it. And then go home and try. So I think we need to, the first thing first is to build a connection with the food. That's how you get close to cooking. Then you just have a couple of shots of tequila, and you get into the kitchen and you let go of all the ideas of what cooking should be or looks like, and you start cooking. And that's it. Like, do not follow a recipe, do not follow a freaking book, don't look at the picture because probably it's not going to look the same. Fall in love with the process, not the outcome. Fall in love with the process. And that's my thing.
Patrick, I would even say, since you're vegetarian, you can always expand your grains. So you can mess with any sort of like ancient grains, because you probably you go rice a lot.
Yeah.
And potatoes
a
lot. Play with barley. You play with some barley. Play with some
Patrick,
farro.
do you eat the same thing every day? Are you one of those meal prepping
You're that
gays?
person.
Are you one of those meal prepping? Oh God, how do you meal prep? Can we stop the glorification of meal prepping? This fucking thing that on Monday you have to prep for like 2 weeks of food. I'm like, why?
Well,
What
are you
do
going
do
to
on
the
a
farmer's
Friday?
market tomorrow?
Yes, I am. Meet me at
What
my
time?
house.
Patrick is looking
early,
for a
Patrick.
pig farmer, as it were.
Oh, it's okay.
Truffle
I
pig.
have I love
A
pigs. I love pigs. I love pigs. A truffle
Yeah,
pig.
I will say this, when I put like
Okay,
a
Charlotte's
record
Web.
on and have wine and I cook and I'm like actually just like chilling and not in a rush and not like tired and I'm
Okay,
just
that's
like
good.
spacing out.
That's good.
I
Yeah.
really enjoy it.
You can
Good.
make like you guys could make like a mushroom risotto together.
Oh, that's good. That's really
That's a
good.
fun
So
little.
I wanna know, Monique, what about you? Do you
Oh, I
spend time in
cook.
the kitchen?
Oh, I could.
I cook. Okay, so let me ask you, what is your go-to dish?
In quarantine, I've been making chicken pho.
For who? Chicken for who?
Chicken pho, like PHO pho, like the Vietnamese dish.
I
I got the
know.
joke though. Okay. Faha, chicken pho.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
this
good.
chicken and lamb dish that I make with like rosemary and thyme and whatnot, and some curry powder. And
See,
just
this
like
is
a little-
actually good. It's like, you're using fresh herbs. And okay, I'll tell you a joke, and then no, it's not a joke, it's a story. I'll tell you a very quick story. So a while back, like a year ago, whatever, a year and a half ago, I was seeing this guy, and it was like right at the beginning, and I think it was like day number 3 or something. And he invited me over for dinner, which I always enjoy, because you have to know that I do not get many invitations for dinner. I usually have people over, but
Oh.
nobody invites me for dinner. So which is very strange, because I'm
I would
happy
be
with just,
paranoid.
oh, see this bullshit of like being paranoid. No, I don't care. You can order pizza from Papa John's. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'll
Monique,
just-
he ain't going over there for the food.
Well, actually,
I think
actually, sorry, I take that back. Not Papa John's. He was a client of mine. He's an asshole, racist, and homophobic. So we're gonna take that back. Not Papa John's. But anyways, I don't care what I'm eating. I care about being alleviated of the process of cooking, right? And also, if you just cook for me, I mean, how freaking rude of me not to, be happy. I mean, it's such a beautiful act. It's eating. It's one of the most intimate things. Actually, the second most intimate thing you can do with your mouth. So, I mean, think about that. So
and
it's
the first is whispering a secret, right?
yeah, I wasn't thinking about that. I think Patrick and I had the same idea of what we were
Yeah,
thinking,
I think we're
I
on
saw-
the
I
He
same
saw-
page.
disappeared
saw
for a
the
little
symbol.
bit. He went
It
below
did.
his.
I can see, like, I don't know. Patrick, come with me to the farmer's market tomorrow. So
I'm
it's,
going to.
This is
No,
playing
so-
out like a fan
so the
fiction. I don't know what
the
is happening.
The story of this is that this guy invited me over for dinner. And I went to his house and he was making fish, he was making salmon. And he said, hey, I'm so sorry. I ran out of salmon seasoning or fish seasoning. And I look at him and say, what's fish seasoning? I'm like, I have no idea what is it. And he was like, well, just the stuff that you put in your fish. And I was like, I don't put fish seasoning. I just put salt and pepper. I'm like, can I see the bottle? And we look at the bottle and the first ingredient in a fish seasoning, I don't know what brand it was, I don't remember anymore. It was sugar. And I'm thinking in my head, why would anybody, if I give you a bag of sugar and say, hey, put it on your salmon, you would not do it. So what I'm saying is, Monique, I love the fact that you say rosemary, you say herbs, you say sage, whatever. Like, right? It's like going back to like Whole Foods, right? Whole,
Yeah, when
like
you trying to flirt, you
WHOL.
got to do the bells and whistles. So I like.
I
to
love that.
flirt
Good
and
for you.
Entertain men. So they go.
I'm
Oh,
loving
this
that.
is this fresh cilantro? Is this fresh basil? You go. Oh yeah.
Basil.
Not
This is fresh
basil.
Oh yeah.
I actually I'm gonna call it Bazel now from now on.
You know, that's
Great.
Gordon
That's great.
Ramsay's. Do you have a master's class maybe on OnlyFans for cooking? Actually, that is a real thing. You can have all your clothes on.
Ooh.
On
Only food.
OnlyFans?
No,
Yeah,
like
only
OnlyFans
food.
is like opening up their markets to like you have artists, drag
Well, yeah,
queens, da da da.
Yeah,
da.
if it's
And
cooking, it'll
Max, this is
be
what you should do. Here,
only
this is for free.
pants.
You should be in like a cute Italian designer Speedo. You know what I mean?
That
Something
means
fitted,
bread.
right? Okay, now I would do nothing with grease, because we don't want the grease to hit, the little chest nipples or whatnot. So do something, cook in front of them, get a friend, make sure they're COVID tested, and then like have him do the pan in, pan out shot. Then you do the whole like, oh, now we're gonna chop up the basil and then do the whole sprinkling, and then you do the closeout. All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody non-gender conforming. This is the finished look. And then they have you like on that same couch with your toes doing that little curve. And then this is the other thing about OnlyFans. So you can sell the video, right? Let's say you sell your masterclass for $24.99,
Manager Monique.
right?
Yeah.
And you can post extra
Really drives it.
content for free, not for a charge. Like, so if he wanted to sell toes like that, like if he just wanted to give his toes for $24.99 or $24.50, that's an extra charge. Do you know people
Oh
is
my
out here
God.
making $22,000?
Oh my God.
Monique.
Monique, you're in the wrong business. You have got
Yeah,
to get into
Monique.
management.
Yeah.
Monique, I'm
Gabriele-
going to connect you
Gabriele
to my
already
agent,
has
and you
Netflix
guys
money.
Can work something out. Oh yeah.
Oh, see, that's
So much-
not
so
rich
much.
money. That's not rich thinking right there. He said he has Netflix money, so you already got money. See,
Oh,
old
my
rich
God.
white folks go, I want everybody's money, okay?
Okay.
So he can sell his toes.
Because
gotta
you're giving
just-
a lot for free here. Okay,
That's
this
a
is
whole
way
lot of
more.
What
free,
is
you
it?
know? Look at that for free. That's $40 per photo right there.
Chester,
40?
I hope you're liking all those pictures because
Bookmark.
the engagement lately has been so awesome.
Archive.
Bookmark, share to story, sent to 4 friends. Baby, I'm there for you.
Thank you.
Jay,
I
shall we
appreciate it.
move on to hot
All right.
tops?
No, I want to watch. Can I?
Okay,
Okay, well let's.
hold
Well,
on, who
okay.
is-
Now
Who's
this
the
is a
hot top
double
today?
whammy.
Ooh,
Sorry.
Wow.
that was
Okay.
ooh,
All
the
right.
bulge.
Okay. Enough.
Okay. You got
enough.
me a hot top, Jay. Go ahead.
All right. So this is the section of the podcast entitled Hot Tops. And this is when we discuss the latest political, cultural, and queer gossip. So, Gabriele, are you ready for some hot tops?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
Hope you're stretched.
Our first hot topic this week, beloved actor and activist Chadwick Boseman of Black Panther fame passed away over the weekend from colon cancer. And I thought it might be nice to talk about him. And I know, Monique, you wanted to say a few words.
Yeah, we'll just keep this short. It was just his legacy is great to know that you were born into this world. I mean, I think he was robbed, taken too soon. But I think all of his work that he put out there was just Black excellence on every level. The James Brown, the Jackie Robinson, Thurgood Marshall, and then for sure, Marvel. Him and Marvel gave us Black Panther. So just so epic. But what really hurt was that he didn't tell anyone, and then fans were dragging him online like, "You're getting skinny," and just. Like this man was going through, treatments and fighting cancer while he was filming Black Panther. And you're like, you got beat up and all of it. We saw the stunt doubles, but we saw those real scenes and like you're fighting this and to come out, it was just beautiful. So I'm just like really, really wrecked. And so if anyone who's lost a family member or you're sad about Chadwick dying and you want someone to talk to, please make sure that you contact BetterHelp. But I'm just all kinds of wrecked by it. Just sad.
Yeah, gone too soon.
I was taken aback. I'm like a huge Marvel nerd. So he was diagnosed in 2016. Black Panther came out February 2018. It was filmed 2016, and he filmed Black Panther. He filmed Captain America: Civil War and Avengers: Endgame and Infinity War all concurrently. Like there was just basically 2 years where he was in Atlanta and various locations filming some of the hardest stunt work and like fight choreography while battling cancer. He didn't tell so many of his castmates, and I mean, he really was a beacon of just kind of like representation and joy and a masterful actor.
Yes.
There's this beautiful story about Denzel secretly paying for him to go study acting in Oxford when he got a scholarship and when he was at Howard. And there's just so many little stories like that. There's a beautiful story of him going to a cancer ward with kids that some of whom had a terminal diagnosis. And he talks about it with Lupita Nyong'o in one of the Black Panther press tours, and you see him break down. And at the moment, a lot of people just thought, oh my gosh, the amount of empathy he must have. But it was sympathy
Real.
because he couldn't even disclose that he was going through something just as earth-shattering. So I want to make sure that we definitely gave him his flowers while he was here, but continue to uplift and affirm people that bring that much joy to the world. And like as a little Black boy, that February 2018 changed their lives the same way November 2008 changed a lot of Black people's lives in this country, because there were my nephew, my cousins, my friends' kids, they literally had $1 billion Black superhero, something you didn't even understand you didn't have, representation you didn't even know you wanted. So I mean, just completely, I can't speak highly enough about Chadwick Boseman, and he will be truly missed.
Amen. Truly.
So we're shifting gears a little bit, a little lighter. The VMAs were this past Sunday. They were a hit, and it only took a pandemic. Chester, let us know what you thought about the VMAs. We want hot takes. We want to see who served it up. We want to see who came close. And you can also be honest and tell us who should have just, turned the Zoom camera off. So
Chester,
tell us what you thought.
Tell
Us what you thought. Come on.
Okay, here's the opinion. Here's the opinion. Okay, now this is no shade to any other artists. Chloe and Halle consistently give you excellence, consistently give you talent, vocals, costumes, choreography. They change up every time I see them perform something. It is new, it is fresh, and they are serving it to you with their whole heart.
And they're singing it live.
Live.
The arrangements. They always change the arrangements for songs.
Throat.
Why the fuck are they in the pre-show? Why did you let the Black Eyed Peas get up there with those glowing dicks, and yet Chloe and Halle are not getting the spotlight up there?
The Black Eyed Peas was one of the most romper room deranged things I've ever seen.
The bar is so low. The bar is underground at this point. How did they not even... Also, didn't realize Fergie was not in the Black Eyed Peas anymore. So
Yeah.
that
Oh,
was.
yeah, she left.
Stacey Ferguson left.
I did not know. So that was also a rude awakening.
But you know, shout out to Fergie for giving us the version of the national anthem we actually deserve as a country.
Don't do this. Don't
What?
do this.
I agree.
It
was-
sounds
it's
the way that we.
Whoa, yes.
Say, can you see?
Girl, we was like, find one note. Okay?
No,
That was
not-
actually the curse that put
One note.
2020.
The best part about her singing the national anthem at the All-Stars game is usually NBA players they won't break during
Right.
the national anthem. But during the
They're-
national anthem at the All-Stars game in 2017, they were like, "We can't. What is she doing?"
What is going on?
Oh, what'd you think of Gaga on
Gaga was
Monday?
great. It was 15 minutes. It was great. Ariana's vocals were perfect. Gowns, beautiful gowns. Love the gowns. I loved Gaga won every goddamn award. She won the
Okay.
Tricon
I know,
Award.
every
A
award.
lot of
Yeah,
stuff
she
going
took
on there.
everything.
Miley Cyrus looked cute.
Little
Kiki
throwback.
Palmer looked great.
Oh.
Love. It is crazy to me.
Keke
I
Palmer
saw
did look
somewhere that Kiki Palmer is the first black girl to host the VMAs.
Since
Yes.
the 80s.
What the fuck?
Downtown Julie Brown hosted it.
What the fuck?
I know, it's
Like-
crazy.
Wow, how anyway, she was great. She always looks beautiful and stunning. Love her energy. I'm trying to think of some other highlights.
I
For
thought the
me-
weekend was great. I loved the helicopter.
Loved his speech.
The helicopter flying and stuff. I
Oh,
thought that was so
yeah.
cool. I don't know. It
Gowns,
looked very
beautiful
like
gowns.
Blade Runner-y kind of. It was fun.
I love the fireworks.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know
I-
what? Doja Cat. I've never really seen her perform live, but I loved her performance.
I thought Doja gave me some Starships era Nicki, which
Yeah.
that's not a drag. That's just me saying that's in the vein of what it was. And she did serviceable. I thought BTS they own so many people's like attention, and they did very well. I thought Maluma, he was hot, and that's all he needs to be.
Maluma
That's
is
it.
the one. We love to see Koreans taking over the charts. I wish they had
Yes.
performed one of their Korean songs instead of this English song. Now, I'm not going to say
Oh.
anything negative